you know my first one. It's my papa,
Amen.
Lester.
Amen.
Maybe I'm gonna cry. But for those of you who don't know my story, he's the reason that me and my family are here.
Amen.
He, from as little as I could remember, he always set the example. He never said, don't do this, don't do that. You can't do this. You've got to do it this way. He lived the example. He lived the Bible.
Amen.
And I was saved when I was 13. But when I met Michael, I was living in the world. And I'd see Papa on his deathbed. And of course, he'd been there many times. And I thought, well, you know, he's going to get better. But, you know, we're calling the family. And okay, well, let's go see Papa. And he was in and out of being coherent. And he'd jabber one minute and tell you straight the next. And he looked me dead in the eye and he said, I'm right. And you know better. It's your turn. And I said, yes, sir. And I had no plans of going to church. He died that following Saturday. This was a Wednesday. He died on Saturday. Saturday night for his glory was on this stage. In July, it was July 20th, 5 years ago. And we've been here ever since.
Amen.
And yeah, it was 5 years ago because you came right after we did.
Amen.
Oh, and your heart's desire, I think by the time you get there, it's going to be Jesus.
You're right. You're right.
My next one was my mama.
I love you. I love
My mama taught me how to sing as soon as I could read. All the old hymns and things, the precious memories, well, those are my precious memories because she walked through the house and she'd sing them. And she had the old hymnals that were published back in the 20s and 30s, and we'd sit down and we'd sing out of those for hours and hours and hours. And she's been gone now 3 years. January will be 3 years. And most of you know Mom. She was here. She's been May will be 3 years that she's been gone. And she also encouraged me to sing. When we first started coming, she wasn't going to have no way until I actually got up and started singing. And I know some of you don't believe it, but I had never really sang in front of a crowd until I stepped foot in this church. And then the last one I wanted to mention was Steve. And the reason I mentioned Steve is because it kind of brings all of these together for me. My grandpa was the backbone. My grandma taught me to sing. My mama prayed that we would get to church. And once I got here, Steve wouldn't rest until I got up there. And that's one of those things where I can look back now, and God started preparing me to minister from the time I was a child. Every step of the way, there has been somebody in my life that He placed there to teach me part of what I was going to do.
Amen.
I miss them all, but I'm going to see them all again.
That's right.